is Zach, and you are watching Real-Time Painting with Arclight Miniatures. Get this music down to a more manageable level. We're continuing tonight on what we've worked on the last couple streams. Going to be working on the binary of Clan Novacat Alpha Galaxy mechs. It is a beautiful night where I am here. Beautiful Thursday evening. For the rest of you folks that have been working, I've been off all week. For those folks who have been working, it's probably been a grind, but that's okay. Stay strong, because we're gonna kick back and relax with some chill vibes, listen to some nice relaxing beats, and we're gonna paint and decompress. It's gonna be good. Managed to work out a few of the kinks when it came to the actual stream health. Last night I was getting a lot of notifications from Twitch and YouTube basically saying that I was having a lot of latency issues, as well as issues with my bitrate. I managed to sort those out. Everything's nice and sturdy now, so shouldn't have any issues. Didn't seem like there was any actual issues presenting to viewers, which was nice. I went back and just kind of skimmed through some of the stream on YouTube and Twitch just to take a look. Things seem pretty good. So you weren't with us last night. Where we got to was we blocked everything in with black that we needed to, and we started on some metallics. We're going to crack through the metallics quickly here, probably over the course of the next hour. Pardon me. Maybe hour and a half. We're going to kind of layer up and do a little bit of highlighting. And then from there, we're going to go to the blue, start refining some things, pumping up the highlights, and then move into the stars. And that'll probably take us to the end of tonight's program. Beyond that, what will be left to do? After we get to the completion of the stars, I probably want to go ahead and throw some decals on, some Clan Novacat insignia, as well as Alpha Galaxy's insignia, and probably some numerals, some numero unos all over the place. And then beyond that, a little bit of weathering, weapon effects, canopies, and bases. And then they're essentially done. Like, once we finish all the star fields and kind of do the last little bit of highlighting on the legs and arms, we're good to go. Like, there's really not much left to do. We're kind of at the, like, I would say at least the 75-80% solution right there. So yeah, hoping to crack through a good portion tonight, and yeah, that'll pretty much have us to maybe another 4 to 6 hours of work on top of what we're going to do tonight. So I guess I probably should have swapped over to the just chatting page rather than leaving it on the starting now page. Doesn't matter. Anyways, let's get over to the painting. I'll ramble while I paint rather than just sitting here sipping on my beer. Let's get to it. Alrighty. Yeah. All right. Picking up the audio. That's good. Okay. I'm gonna unhook my. I'm not using wireless headphones because I am on my desk here. I have AKG studio headphones. Not that I'm an audiophile by any means, but I definitely like to have good sound quality. So I use actual hardline headphones. So I have this like 7-foot long cable going from my head to my PC, and my oh my, I get tangled up in this thing sometimes. Anywho, got the mechs already out on the desktop. I still have some paints left over on my wet palette. I did top up the water in this. I'm going to add a little bit more of the dark silver. That's just a pearl color. I mean, I got a bit of a dry throat. My wife is sick right now, and I'm probably fighting whatever she's got. So, the joy of having kids in daycare. You just pick up all their little vermin. Or I guess I should say they are little vermin, and you pick up all their little bugs. This brush I'm using right now is a. It says it's a #1 from Vallejo, but this is like a #3. Honestly, it's such a big brush in comparison to my actual #2 and my #1. My actual #2s and actual #1s over here, Marta Kolinsky brushes. This thing's huge, but it has a pretty sharp tip, so I like using this for metallic paint. It's on the horned owl. Go ahead and zoom in a little bit. The old jump jet port here. I'm just doing the base coating right now. Just going to come to all these areas, quickly get the base coat layered up. Once the base coat's on, I kind of feel like it essentially takes the amount of time that it takes to paint all the base coats is what it takes to go back and layer up and highlight everything if you're doing it in a batch paint. So I just try to be as efficient about this as I can. Try not to linger too much. I go ahead and get the underside of this one, and then I can carry on to a couple other spots. I'm going to do the little heat sink thing on his butt. Just kind of avoiding the recesses wherever possible. That way I don't have to go back in and pin wash things. Gadiush, what's going on, Voxel Forge? I haven't really advertised it yet, but I did just start a Discord server. In one of the breaks here, I'll go ahead and link it in the chat so you folks can go ahead and hop in. I'm also going to add it to like my tiles on Twitch. And I'm going to add it to the all my descriptions for all my videos. Gonna have a few things going on in there. I wouldn't mind, like, one of the channels in there is going to be specifically for stream related content, and then also specifically for doing kind of just like, I guess, art review is kind of the best way to put that. I kind of want to have this thing where toward the end of every stream I kind of pop into that Discord while I'm in chat, and I'll take a look at some of the photos that you folks throw in there of like whatever miniatures or whatever art you guys are working on, whatever projects you guys can throw photos in there, and I'll give commentary, critique if you guys want it. Yeah, just a little bit of community engagement. Going on, Warwolf. Gambit Mech. Oh, heck yeah, I caught you. Wow, I'm happy that you're happy. I don't want to get too crazy with painting metallic details on this guy. I'm going to kind of work on some of these laser muzzles. It's got a couple on the arms and the one on the center of the chest. The one on the arms are medium lasers. They're either ER mediums or medium pulses. I can't remember, but I know they're of the medium variety. And then the center torso has a large type laser. Again, I can't remember if it's an ER large or if it's a large pulse, but large boy, medium boys on the arms there. What up? Hanging out with my youngest. Helps set up for 4H fair. Nice. Gonna try to avoid that little recess a little bit. I'm just gonna get a little bit of paint in there, but I'm gonna leave the deepest part kind of dark. Again, I'm just trying to avoid having to come back in and do washes to shade some of these areas, so wherever possible, I'm just gonna avoid getting paint on them. Things like the lens here, and I'm just gonna come back in and quickly throw a little bit of black ink, but yeah. Wherever possible, I try to be as neat as possible. There's just certain areas where it does definitely make sense just to come back and quickly touch up, especially if you're going to be going back and layering paint over that area subsequently. Then, you know, I'm really not super worried about being as neat in an area like that, but if it's already an area I've worked on, then no sense in having to come back and touch up an area that I've already like painted to what should be a finished state or a near finished state, just to have to come back and do more work. So plus, I don't know, if you just practice painting accurately, you'll get more faster at painting accurately. Yeah. You get ninja quick, ninja speed. I'm not really going to mess with the actuators on the legs. A lot of them are kind of enclosed anyways. I mean, I could do kind of like these little bits here. I'm just going to kind of avoid that. I might do these little bits down here though, just to add a little touch. But I don't want to paint too many metallic details on these guys. Just my personal preference for this project in particular. And that's it for the yep, we're gonna call that it for the horned owl. Go ahead and rinse that off. Have a little sippy sip of my drink. Wet my whistle because my throat's getting a little bit dry. Let's go on to the Piranha. It's a jacked little dude with the super sexy 6-pack and all the machine gun barrels. I guess it really depends on the variant. This is probably a bunch of small lasers. Either way, this guy fucks. Just gonna hit these muzzle rims quickly, and then I'm gonna kind of fill in the sides. Greetings, peeps. Piranha run fast, throw hands. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah, brother. We. Load just a little bit of moisture into my brush. Actually, I'm going to rinse that out quickly. Rinse it out. Let's get that very Canadian-like. It's in a bit of a weird position. I'm casting a bit of shadow, so it's actually making it a little bit hard for me to see a couple of these spots. I think that's relatively covered. No, actually, I missed a big spot on the side here. Oh, look at that. If I just tilt it slightly, see a little bit better. There we go. Those are good. Still got a couple other little muzzles to do, but these guys will be pretty quick and easy. Metallics is always one of those things that, like, it's a necessity, but I don't actually really enjoy painting metallics on my miniatures. True metallic, non-metallic, or otherwise. It's just not really one of my things I enjoy. Personally, I find metallic paints just behave a lot differently than just standard acrylics. You can't really thin them the same way and stuff like that, so or else they don't like set and dry correctly. They'll kind of be patchy and look weird if you thin them a little bit too much. Yeah, I don't know. I have my own little misgivings about metallic paints. When it comes to painting, what's the biggest mistake you feel you bought? Biggest mistake you feel you bought? Like the biggest mistake, like the biggest mistake purchase? Like the biggest purchase mistake that I've had? My MWO Piranha was chock full of my lasers, tiny lasers. Yeah. I flip-flop between AP Gauss and small pulse lasers in mine. Yeah, in terms of like bad purchasing hobby-wise, that's a good question. I don't know. Maybe a filament 3D printer, and I don't know. Like I figured out resin printing pretty easily, and maybe I just had a lemon with my Ender 3, but I could just not get that thing to print consistently. And no matter how hard I tried, it always seemed to come out of level, like its bed, which was just damned odd to me. I troubleshot it, rebuilt it a couple times. Yeah, it was very frustrating. But yeah, I think that was probably the biggest mistake. Like I have some prints that I still have from it, but I never really made anything worthwhile, and I used a lot of filament in the process of making a bunch of garbage. So definitely wasn't the most economical purchase that I made. But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's any other blunders I've made in terms of bad purchases. I don't really think there are. Probably that 3D printer though. Do the these little laser bores on the arms. The old printers were like pulling teeth. Yeah, I know that they've come quite a long way. Like I bought my first one in, I want to say early 2021, like very early 2021. It's an Ender 3 Pro. And yeah, I had issues with it right out of the box, which I know, Ender 3 is like, yeah, you got to tune them and all that stuff, but it was just such a headache. Whereas I ended up picking up an Elegoo Mars Pro, like one of the early Elegoo Mars Pros, and then eventually I bought a Elegoo Saturn because I wanted a bigger print plate. I don't have them anymore just because I don't have space to run a printer, so I eventually sold them. Just with my daughter entering the picture, I had to kind of downsize my office space and my hobby space, and I don't know, I kind of felt weird already with, I have a lot of animals, so I I felt weird with the fumes, and I did my best to vent them outside, but still, I just wanted to be a little bit more diligent about safety and everything, so I got rid of them. But yeah, so I guess maybe just printing in general, because yeah, it just didn't really work out for me. Oops. I gotta fix the positioning here of my lamp and whatnot, because I'm having a hard time. I'm having to lean forward quite a bit, and that's putting the miniature out of view. There, I think this is a little bit better. Pain of God, sorry me in typing. My lulls bot was a pain and a half to keep level. Ended up covering it beach towel, covering it with beach towels to keep it going well. Interesting. Why beach towels? Do the piping on the back of this dude here. I try not to go right into the deepest recess with this paint. Actually, I'm now that I'm thinking about it, I can actually think of a good blunder that I made. I bought an Indominus box set for Warhammer 40k. I built and prepped and base coated and varnished the entire box set of all the Space Marines, and then proceeded to only keep one squad of intercessors, and then sold the rest. Yeah, that's what I did. Very silly. I just became overwhelmed because I already had a bunch of like BattleTech and other Warhammer miniatures that I already had, and I was like, what did I do? So I ended up just panicking and selling everything. So yeah, I forgot about that. Keep the heat more consistent and trapped inside. It was like Lulu bought 5, so that's like 5, 6 maybe years ago. Yeah, okay. Period concern with 3D printing and kids. Yeah, even with the I don't know, like there's some research to show that not like it's super concerning, but even with the filament printing, that like the fumes are toxic. And if you're not venting them properly, like it's they kind of do linger in your house, and it's not a good thing. It's not good to be breathing that stuff in. So yeah, just with the pets and all the chemicals and stuff that I had around the house, when my wife got pregnant, I just made the snap decision. I was like, no, I'm just gonna sell these, because I can always get new ones in the future once my kid's older and I have more space. Actually have the facility space to do everything properly. Because that's the thing. I want to be able to vent outside. I want to have like a kind of like a sequestered area where I can do all the cleaning and processing and not have, I don't know, contamination issues. So I'm just gonna paint a couple areas on the legs and whatnot with metallics. I don't really want to go too crazy here. Really do a little area on the ankles. Do that. Kind of getting the fronts of these ankles here on the piranha. It's really, honestly, about all I'm going to do, I think. It's not a big miniature, not crazily detailed, and I just want to focus on the super sick abs and all the barrels. Go on to the Incubus. Got a lot going on here. These little barrels and doodads on the side torsos. Okay. Smash out these little fins on these, I guess, heat sinks. Take a look at his backside here. Yeah. So I don't have a lot of paint on my brush, so I'm going to basically do like what's essentially a dry brush with this brush here. Just quickly hit all those raised ribs, and boom, there we go. Painted. Watching without sound at the moment, you do great work. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Anamortis Fortress, quite the name. Yeah, Mac, that's how I feel. I got an area that could work for printing, but too much to spend on maybe. Yeah. Yeah, it's a struggle. Like, I mean, printing's an investment. It's a whole hobby in of itself. I mean, there's guys who are miniature painters that get into printing and 3D print design that they pretty much stop painting and just kind of entirely focus on that. You know, like they develop a lot of focus towards that because, again, it's a hobby in of itself, and I think there's a even deeper creative aspect in many regards to building 3D objects, that which you can then paint once you print them. So I mean, like, it's just like this crazy grassroots, bottom-up creative process of designing miniatures, printing them, and then painting them. But oftentimes guys just get lost in the sauce with designing and then, you know, forming Patreons and My Mini Factory pages and, you know, off to the races of making pennies on the dollar for many hours of work trying to sell their files. Not that it's a fruitless pursuit by any means. Some guys make some guys make a living off of it, but it's just, I find it interesting to see the common threads with some folks that I've seen really dive headfirst into 3D printing. I'm gonna do kind of the little back areas on the arms. Just that raised little area. Get that focus. So, Not trying to be funny, not trying to make it the worst day at their job, but what do you use for the antenna? Uh, I use this stuff. Beadalon bead stringing wire. So it's 7 strands of micro wire in a plastic sheath, and it is 0.015 inches in diameter, or 0.38 millimeters in diameter, and it's a 109-foot spool. Boom. It holds its shape very well, but it's also very flexible, and does not poke your fingers. So super good stuff. Takes paint very well as well because the plastic sheath on the outside. Yeah. Snips with scissors and everything. Like, it's super easy to use. So I just literally drill a hole and then glue this in with super glue. Got a buddy that owns an arcade and does a lot of wild builds for steampunk. So I just shoot him money whenever he has time to print. Nice. Yeah, it's always nice having friends that have printers, because I just commission prints from those folks now. Like Raymond White is one of the guys on the design team for Catalyst Game Labs. He's done some design and parting for miniatures for Iron Wind Metals, as well as Catalyst Game Labs, and he's also who a lot of us in Camo Specs will get our pre-production prototype prints from when there's like a new mech design that hasn't made it to plastic yet that we want to paint up for promotional purposes. We'll usually bug him for those, and I don't know, like, I'll get him to print me resin bases and all little like weapons effects and stuff like that. So I definitely sneak other things in there other than just the pre-production stuff that we're doing for promo or diorama projects. It's just nice to use the prints for those, especially if we're in a hurry and on a time crunch. We don't want to spend a lot of time doing prep, like cleaning up mold lines and stuff. The prints do clean up pretty quickly. But I like the plastics, especially for game playing purposes, just because they are more durable. I can drop one of these on the floor and not worry about it. Whereas the resin prints, it's kind of a toss-up as to whether or not it's going to explode. I do quite enjoy the metal miniatures, actually. Those are like, people don't give them enough credit. Like, some of the sculpts are pretty goofy from like the older series of mechs and vehicles, but some of the sculpts are beautiful, and especially a lot of the newer ones, they're done really well, and the cleanup really isn't that laborious. I actually find cleaning up and building a lot of Iron Wind Metals miniatures takes me less time than cleaning up one of these. Not always, but I would say 50% or more. So substantial. Again, I'm just trying to avoid these little recesses here, so I'm just kind of like wiping the side of my brush along this, because I don't want to have to go back and fill that area with black if I don't need to. Alright, just gotta do the side of this guy here. Go ahead and rinse out my brush, because I had some paint drying in it. I'm going to hit the whole end of this barrel here, pretty much to where this little, I guess, joint piece is. I absolutely love this sculpt. I love the Conjurer. Hellhound. Wolverine 2C. So that's what it really is. Stuff on the backside here I gotta hit around those jump jet ports. Tons of jump jet ports on this guy. What is that? 6 just on the back there. Plus the missile pod backblast baffles. Those little ports. That's actually a fun thing I did on one of the miniatures I worked on a couple years ago. I have photos of it all over my my Instagram and whatnot, but it's a Shadowcat B config that was done kind of in the styling of MechWarrior 4. So instead of having the LRM-15s in its arms, it has them in the side torsos. And I had missiles firing in like a missile circus coming out of the a big spiral coming out of the LRM-15 pod in the side torso, and I created like a backblast plume coming out of the vents that were on the backside of the Shadowcat on the torso, just using some green stuff and did a little bit of object source lighting. That was one of the more realistic things I've done on a miniature that I quite enjoyed. So people often don't think about that when they have mechs with like missile effects firing on them. Oftentimes those mechs will have like baffle vents like on the backside of wherever the missiles are. Like on here you have these. On the Shadowcat you have actual like vents kind of on the rear side. So because real time, you would have to have somewhere for all those gases to go when you fire off those missiles. So, love the old metal mechs. Gives us new players a chance to walk in hobby history. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that one was sick. Thanks a lot. Yeah, actually, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can go into my video library and I have the Sigma Lance tutorial. It's like one of the only video like actual tutorials that I have. And I do cover a decent amount on the Shadowcat itself. That was quite the fun project to work on. It is a shame that the vulture that I work on in that video is like a 3D print. I do make it pretty clear in the video, like even before I was camo specs, like it's not available for anybody or anything like that. And actually the guy, Ion Raptor, who had that sculpt up initially, had taken it down because after a couple months after he had put it up on like one of the repository sites, I think it was like Holtz 3D or something like that. Of course, Etsy stores started selling his stuff, so he just pulled all of his files from all the repository sites, and eventually got a lot of those Etsy stores forced to stop selling them. But it was a whole thing. He ended up taking a lot of his IP infringing stuff down because people just kept printing them and selling them. This would have been back in like 2020, so a number of years ago. But yeah, he was nice enough to give me the sculpt just so I could paint it up. What metallic paint am I using? I am using Pro Acryl Dark Silver. So when you have direct reflection, it shines very bright, but when it's not in direct light, it literally looks like a dark gray almost. So it's I quite like it. It's really good as a base coat for any silver metallic, essentially. Kind of painting the backside of the knee joint here. Trying to avoid that little recess in the middle. My favorite too, just looks a little brighter on stream. Yeah, when I have the miniature up here, I have this bright task lamp that just absolutely bleaches some of the color, unfortunately. Just a unfortunate byproduct of the lighting in relation to the camera. There. I'm not really going to bother with the ankles because I'm going to kind of dirty up some of these ankles and stuff later on. So I'm not going to bother painting metallics there. We'll go on to the Vapor Eagle, and then we're halfway done these guys. Oops. Off with this little barrel here. I do have these, like, I'm pretty sure they're like SRM2 pods or something. I have to double check the record sheet. I don't actually know the Vapor Eagle well. Never really used it in MechWarrior Online, and I've never really used it on tabletop actually. So it'll be kind of interesting to take this thing for a whirl when I first do eventually play with it. Muscles down here on the side torsos. I'm gonna hit the sides first. 2 streak SRM2, yeah, that's what I thought. Clans love streak SRMs, and honestly, in game, like I've never really used them in tabletop and like classic or anything, but in MechWarrior they are pretty slick if you have the right setup going for you. I definitely enjoy some streaks. I enjoyed how they functioned in MechWarrior 4, which is totally not. MechWarrior 4 was a very fun franchise, but it wasn't exactly representative of how mech combat was actually supposed to kind of play out. And one of the things that was funny with Streak SRMs, or still is funny with Streak SRMs in that game, because I do play it occasionally, is you don't actually have to lock on to anybody. It's basically just wherever you point and click, that's where the missiles are going to go. So if you click onto a moving target, it will track that target and hit that target. Yeah, so it's basically you just got to make sure that you're actually accurate with your mouse clicks, and you will pretty much hit every time. Unless they have AMS or ECM, then it'll scatter some of your missiles. If it's ECM and AMS, obviously will shoot some of them down, but it is very funny. Like, just no lock on required. You just point and click. In Classic, they don't waste ammo if you miss because they didn't have a lock at the cost of an extra ton for the launcher. I had mixed feelings. Oh, that's an interesting way to try to balance things. It's interesting, yeah. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like, they're not supposed to be able to fire unless they get a lock. So if you don't actually get the missile lock with the weapon system based on your roll, then I guess that kind of makes sense. But I can definitely see how it, just in actual practice, it seems a little goofy and maybe not entirely fair. But, you know, unfortunately, I think that's just a limitation of trying to practically represent a real life function on tabletop with tossing dice. It makes sense, like LRMs, you don't necessarily need to lock. It helps if you have a lock, but you can just dumb fire them as well. So great if you're running a campaign and actually tracking ammo expenditures and whatnot, but the extra ton can be used in a lot of other ways. And SRMs come with a decent chunk of ammo per bin anyway. Yeah, especially, I mean, you know, the highest volley shot is going to be 6 missiles. And generally, I would say, like, the SRM4 is kind of the workhorse of SRMs. So, yeah, I kind of agree with you there. Definitely makes sense, especially from the campaign standpoint. I'm a Alpha Strike pleb, so when I do campaigns, I don't have to deal with that. I'm gonna do a couple parts on like the elbow joints here. It's a little bit too thin on my brush. I kind of flooded that little elbow joint, but that's okay. I wanted to hit the recesses anyways here on this. I'm gonna hit the back of the torso there, but I'm gonna kind of finish up on the arms first here, because I moved to those. I don't want to get too helter-skelter and go back and forth and forget things. And I'll hit this. There we are. Cool. Let's go to those jump jet ports. I think I'm gonna have to pour a little bit more paint out on my wet palette here. I have some old stuff that was already sitting on the wet palette, but I don't really want to use it because part of it's a little bit chunky, and I don't really want to end up with textured debris in my paint. I go ahead and shake some up. Boom. I definitely I don't know if you can hear that agitator, but the agitators that R3AL puts in their shaker bottles are like sturdy as hell. I do wish that their dropper bottles weren't proprietary. I do wish that they weren't so big. That way I could actually put them in one of these slots, because right now I just have them up on an open shelf. It's meant for, it's a rack shelf that's meant for just standing up paint pots, but it'd be nice to actually put it on its side in one of the sideways racks that I have, just because I have a lot more of them. Zoom in just slightly. I'm not going to zoom in quite as intensely as I had before. Other side of this, I don't look at the face of it. I guess the rim, I should say, not the face. Kind of an underside there to get. Get this side while I'm at it before I flip it. Probably get the rim of this as well. Rinse this out quickly. Just a couple like rounded structures that I don't want to get around this with paint. So I'm just taking my time and care to avoid them. I'm going to hit a couple of these like actuators inside the shoulder joints here, just because they're a little bit more pronounced. I'm just going to kind of poke down in here, take off a little bit of the excess. I'm just going to trace along this rim thing. Good enough. Covering the stuff that's visible. I'll probably get the undersides of these actuators here. It's kind of these like raised rim areas that look like they get rotated on back and forth as part of the upper leg actuators. Just gonna go ahead and cover those. Kind of hitting that little groove there too. Just like so. Doesn't have to be too crazy. Oops. Yeah. Just like that. Take a look at the front here. There's a tiny little area in the front, in the crotch there, that I'll try to get. Wow. Written out on paper, that last statement could be viewed in a very negative light. But it's on record, so. Hit the back of the knee actuators here. And then I'll hit the jump jet ports. And then there's some pretty pronounced bits on the ankle that I will hit with a bit of paint. But just a couple spots. I'm just hitting this little central raised, I don't know, guide piece I don't know what this is supposed to be. It's just part of the actuator. To jump jet port. The jump jets will be fun to paint because I'm gonna make sure all of the jump jets on these get painted up really nicely. I might actually grab some of my. I might do an entire stream on just jump jets because I do have some Aerodani Light Horse mechs that have jump jets that I didn't really paint in with any object source lighting or anything. I just kind of left them blank. So maybe we can just make a stream out of it, and we can just take a handful of mechs and paint some jump jets of different shapes and sizes. Get a little bit of like the jump jet variety hour, I guess, of sorts. Yes, let's do it. Jump jet variety hour. It's gonna happen. There's some people looking at the way that I hold my brush right now and are just like shaking their heads. I do in fact hold my brush like a 2-year-old sometimes. But it works. So I just keep doing it. It's crazy. Gonna hit the outer edges of these jump jet rims, and then I'm gonna hit just again that central raise like rib guide piece thing. I'm gonna rinse this out. It's drying out of my brush. Thankfully, it's not super hot here today. I was dealing with not a crazy heat wave, but it was definitely warm here for a couple weeks. And my office would get pretty warm in the evenings. I just don't have central air. I have a couple window AC units in bedrooms and one in my living room downstairs, but that's it. So I was relegated to just sweating my ass off. But thankfully that is not me today. I'm not a stinky boy. This guy's good. Do a quick little once over. Yeah, we got the underside of the legs there. Yeah, this guy's good to go. Cool. All right, we're halfway down. Woo! Hydration break, folks. Make sure you don't go down with dehydration. Alex, are taking a little bit longer than I'd hoped. Again, it's just one of those aspects of miniature painting that's not my favorite. And this is one of the reasons why, is I do find it sometimes takes a little bit longer than I would like. And I think that's just because on a lot of Battletech stuff, the metallics tend to be like recessed bits that are kind of hard to get at. You gotta be real careful. I mean, I guess if you layer up from a completely black miniature and do all of your metallics first, then you can be a little bit more sloppy. But then you run into a whole bunch of other problems, which I don't really want to be dealing with. Sorry if this has been asked already. Just got here. What range is this mini from? Is it Battletech? Yes. Correct. This is a Timberwolf Prime, also known as a Mad Cat. This is the official Catalyst Game Labs minis. So I'm just painting. Oh yeah, up here. This is a good example of like a backblast baffle of sorts, or backblast Venturi. Got a few all over the missile pod. It is an LRM-20, so it's got a lot of bang and whoosh. I try to move through this relatively quickly because I feel like I've been taking my time a little bit the last couple miniatures. Pardon the painting handle position. I know the thumb rest is getting a little bit in the way there. I'm just trying to avoid having to reposition the miniature on the painting handle too much. Now, not all of these metallics we're going to come back and layer up to highlight like a lot, and part of that's just because not all of them really need it. But on certain prominent things like weapon barrels and whatnot, we'll come back and we'll highlight those. But that'll be a relatively quick process. For the most part, we're just going to let the metallics do their thing, create natural highlights just based off the fact that they have a lot of shine. But on a few things like weapon barrels, definitely if you go the extra mile and do a little bit of layering and highlighting, it can definitely make them look just a little bit extra sassy. Just gonna hit these laser muzzles. Not really gonna hit much else on the arms, to be brutally honest. A little bit in the elbow joint, and I think that's about it. And these muzzles on these lasers were pretty awful to try and clean up. They had some pretty horrendous mold lines on them, and honestly, like they really probably still could have been cleaned up better. I just kind of lost my patience and just said, "Frig it." Fortunately, PVC is just not the most forgiving plastic to try to scrape and cut away when it's very thin and wispy as it is. So it definitely tried my patience and won. That's okay. I've painted I mean, this is like the 12th or 13th Timberwolf I think that I've painted. I've painted so many Timberwolves. They're just so pretty to paint. Like, how can you not want to paint one of these things? Looks really cool. This is from R3AL. Looks really cool. Are you blending multiple colors in or doing purple layers to blue highlights? Yeah, I was blending multiple colors in. Well, multiple shades of blue up from purple, and I still need to go in and like refine a bunch. That's what I'm going to be doing after I finish with the metallic pieces. I'm going to go start pumping up some edge highlights and panel lining a few recesses just to kind of break up all the different armor panels and darken some of these really a lot of the panel lines are still fairly dark, but I want to make them nice and bold. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So I'm gonna throw a little panel lining in there just with some acrylic wash. I'll just pin wash into those. Not every single one, just the ones that need it, and then do all the edge highlights for the blue and start working on the star fields for the Nova Cat Alpha Galaxy scheme. knocked that out of my hand by accident. Go ahead and hit up this little elbow joint area thing. Whoa, Brightwell's now a subscriber. Thanks a lot. Thanks for the sub. I just realized I'm gonna have to resize my chat box and or my alert box because they overlapped. No bueno. Yeah, there's not much to do on the legs here. I'm gonna hit a little bit of like these raised areas on the back here, but like the rest of the stuff is kind of like whatever. I don't really worry about. I'm not gonna worry too much about it. These aren't the focal point anyways. I will come to the front of this ankle area and just this one little part on the ankle actuator I'm gonna paint in silver. Just because it kind of sticks out. Now I do still have like the factory post underneath the foot. I just like this is going to be for gameplay purposes. This isn't going to be going up on the Camo Spec site, so I just said screw it. It'll help keep it durable, and I'm going to be adding flocking like a shrub underfoot there, kind of around that post to kind of hide it. If you look really hard, you'll still be able to see it, but otherwise it'll be good enough, and that's all we really care about is good enough. Timberwolf done. Let's go on with the Warhawk. Let's burn through this baby. Yeah, we're gonna hit the little round nubby there, and these little angled rectangular fellas. We'll go to the other side and repeat. Repeat. Okay, we'll hit the heat sinks on the back side here. Just being very gentle and taking the tip of my brush in at a low angle in relation to the those little raised bits, kind of acting like a quasi dry brush here, almost. On these little baffle fins. And these are just heat sinks, I reckon. Just got a little bit of silver on the blue. I'm just going to try and scrub that away. Getting it wet. Scrubbing. And it worked. Doesn't always work, but sometimes it works. Definitely helps if you've varnished your miniature at some point, because then you can really be aggressive with water and scrubbing, and you can pretty much just scrub most paint right off of your miniature if you've just applied it and you need to quickly remove it because you didn't mean to put it on there, like I just did. Make a big dumb mistake and you got to fix it. Yeah, that's the time. That's the time you want to do that. This little heat sink on its backside. I suppose there is this one too, eh? I kind of neglected this one, and by this one I mean this one here that I'm filling with black. Get my stupid head out of the way so I don't cause this to lose focus. Got a quick rinse. I just noticed a heat sink or something that I kind of missed, so, well, not kind of missed, I did miss it, so I just filled it in with black. I'm just kind of waiting for the paint to dry on the raised portion so I can apply my silver. Just a little bit more. Good. Good, very good. Okay. We'll do these little heat sinks on the front. I'll finish off on the torso before I move on to the arms. Just that way we don't really miss anything. I'll kind of do the lower front of the waist here as well. I'll have to touch up that little area, but that's okay. This will be a good one to do. Yeah, I'm just trying to avoid the little recesses there, so I'm just kind of dragging my brush on its side along here to just hit that flat surface and not the stuff tucked in between those little grating areas. Boom! There is a little bit of hip actuator exposed here. I'm going to try to keep this relatively thin, this area that I apply. Not the paint thin, but just the actual area that I cover fairly thin. Just enough that way in some light you can just kind of see that glint of silver. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'll pretty much have to repeat that process on the back, I believe. Double check here. No, actually, it's pretty much covered on the back side, so we're good there. We'll have a little bit of the knee actuator to paint. I'll go back up to the arms in a minute here. I just kind of started on the legs, so I'm going to finish off on the legs quickly. Just again, like I like to be a little bit lazy and just pick out these center little bits. Those little raised areas that look like they're part of like a working piece that kind of glides back and forth against something on the inside, if that makes sense. Kind of like a roller cam, or cam roller, I should say. Oops, back my head out of the way. And what I want to actually paint on the back of this guy, I don't want to paint the whole joint. I'm gonna do just this little raised piece here. And we'll repeat the process on the other side here. I'll come at it from a slightly different angle. Easy peasy. And then we'll kind of pick that central raised area on the front of the ankles as well, and the back, wherever it's visible. Kind of visible on this side. I'll see if I can get it. More stompy mechs. The mech frog. What's going on, fella? Happy to have you with us. If you're not tracking who the mechanical frog is, head over. If you are on YouTube and watching this on YouTube, go to that search bar and punch in the mechanical frog and figure out what you've been doing with your life and why you don't know what his videos are all about. And if you're watching on Twitch, open up YouTube and go to the Mechanical Frogs channel and subscribe. Boom! Viewership. Hopping along. The nonsense must flow, 100%. You can touch up there. I just see needs a little bit more metallics. There we go. I do remember there's a small area I do need to touch up somewhere on this with a bit of black. Oh, I see it. We go in just right here on this bottom heat sink. just like so. Taking a quick once over. Oh yeah, the arms. That's right. So I got to do the arms. I'm not gonna do the entire barrels on these. I'm just gonna do the muzzles. Again, I'm cheating here. I don't want to do too much work. I want to do just enough to make this good enough. Oops. A little bit of a fudge up right there, but that's okay. I'll fix it. Couple little areas on the undersides of the muzzles here that I got to fill in. Pardon the angle. There we go. Shiny muzzles on one side, bare muzzles on the other. Yeah, we're just going to paint the muzzles like that. I don't want to do the entire barrels. Yeah, we're going to do the same on this. And then that's actually going to kind of help us even more once we add a little bit of object source lighting from the PPC glow to this, because these little slits on the barrels, I'm going to put some PPC glow in those, and having the black there is actually going to help pump up the contrast even more. So okay. There's these little heat sink things on either arm. Try to just hit the raised portions of these. Save myself the trouble of having to fill anything with a wash. That's pretty good. Go ahead into the other side and we'll do the same thing. Symmetry, all about the symmetry. And if I try to go, I don't always achieve it, but I try to go through my mechs like this with this level of symmetry. And in terms of like, if I do it on one side, I move to the other side of the mech and do it. That way I don't miss things. Because I am a little bit neglectful sometimes. If I get a little bit excited and I'm moving through things pretty quickly, sometimes I just miss things. So offload a little bit of the excess. I'm going to hit the little exposed actuator bit here. Try to wedge this up into the top a bit more. Good enough. I'm surprised I didn't mess anything up there. I almost, like, I don't know, Warhawks and I was going to say Daishis, but Direwolves, they have very similar arms and legs and, you know, boxy torsos, and I always find painting those little areas there that I'm painting right now, I always seem to make mistakes and have to come back in and touch up. Maybe now that I'm talking about it, I'll do that now on this side. Now that I'm talking about it, you know, just summon it, conjure it, or not. Maybe I'll keep the streak of no screw-ups going. We'll come in on the backside and just hit a tiny little bit with the silver, just the tiniest little sliver on both sides. Just a touch. Just gonna reshape the point on my brush there. Just a sliver. Sliver of silver. Silver sliver. Say silver sliver 5 times real fast. Just a couple areas on the back of the elbows here. I don't know if you can notice, but this is also a Catalyst Game Labs miniature. The overall sculpting on the backside here, like how it came out of the mold, just wasn't great. I didn't really feel like going in and resculpting the whole thing, so I just kind of cleaned it up a little bit where some of the mold lines were, and that was it. But yeah, some shallow detail in a couple areas. I was a little bit I shouldn't say upset, disappointed. I was a little bit disappointed. Same spot on the other side. Silver is very eye-catching, especially against a really dark backdrop like this, so you don't really need much. Just for added effect, I'm going to do these big giant, they look like screw heads on the sides. Looks like if I came up with a big flathead screwdriver and stuck it in here and started turning real quick, that the pilot would get real nervous real quick. Although I think the pilot would just be more nervous that a guy with a flathead big enough to be stuck in here is now turning it. Must be a big, strong guy. There we go. A little mess up. That's okay. It's done the groove there. I'm just gonna grab a little bit of black ink here. Should be fine. All right. Warhawk complete. 3 left to go. The Nova's got a lot of little like barrel muzzles on the arms, so that'll be a little bit of a tedious process. It's also got these weird little pods on either side of its head. I'm not sure what these are supposed to be. Kind of remind me almost of like air intakes on a fighter jet or something. Or even on a helicopter. Not that air intakes are usually by the sides of the cockpit on a helicopter. They're usually above the cockpit and behind it, where the rotor is. But definitely looks like a big fat helicopter intake of some kind, or again, fighter jet air intake. Just weird. Not sure what those are. They're not weapons. I know that. Know that for a fact. Let's pop over to the back side here. It's got some, unfortunately, poorly molded heat sinks and jump jets. The ones from the Alpha Strike box set were just unfortunately not the best quality. Don't know why. The ones from the Clan Striker Star were significantly nicer and required less cleanup overall. I don't know why that is. Same plastic. Plastic looked exactly the same. It just must have been the molds or the batch, who knows. Just got a crazy itch on my nose for some reason. Ooh. God damn. Okay. We're gonna finish off the arms before we move down to the legs. trying to keep it top to bottom. Just little heat sink things on the arms. Do the other side too. Whoops. Right, and then we'll do these muzzles on the barrels. Now, I'm gonna attack it from this way, and I'm gonna kind of like roll my brush up and over all of these to try and get as much coverage as possible in a single brush stroke. Just like that. Seems to be working. I'm gonna zoom this out slightly. This feels a little claustrophobic. Oops. There we go. This guy took a lot of cleanup as well. A lot of I'm surprised these laser barrels look as good as they do. Because yeah, there's quite a bit of cleanup with these. Cross and hit all the fronts now. Done. Go on and repeat the process on the other side here. Just making sure I have a good amount of moisture in my brush. Nothing too crazy, but like a small drop, just that way this metallic paint will stay flowing off my brush well without actually thinning out the metallic paint. It's kind of the trick with metallic paint. I'll usually just tap my brush tip to my wet palette sponge, and then I'll bring my brush into my metallic paint and gently pull a little bit of paint away from the rest of the paint on my palette, and then that's the paint that I use. Keeps it just moisturized enough that yeah, it just flows well, but doesn't thin it out to where all the metallic flakes start to dissociate in different directions. The ends of these muzzles now. All right. It's got some shiny fists going on now. Spicy fists. He's got a bunch of spicy flashlights in his hands. So spicy. All right. Let's go on to the getaway sticks, the old legs here. Let these jump jets on the backside first. Wear little chicken legs. Rinsing my brush briefly, add a little bit more onto it. Hit these raised areas without hitting the recesses, just kind of the constant theme with all this. Those are good to go. We're gonna hit these little round things on either side of the knee. There's none on the insides, just on the outsides of the reverse knee joints. We're just gonna hit those. As they're small, they're round, they're easy. We're also gonna hit, there's kind of another one of those common little rounded raised lip things that looks like a cam roller of some kind. It's part of this actuator. I attack this inside from a kind of the best angle that I can. I think that's about good. There's a couple like little thin wispy heat sinks on the sides here. I'm just going to touch those. Just going to touch them. Just a little bit, a little touch. Get them nice and shiny. Use once more. Cool. That's basically done. Oh, actually, no. I'm gonna hit the. I just noticed there's some exposed shoulder actuators. I'm gonna hit these. Kind of just gonna fill this whole area. It's relatively wide open, so I'm gonna just get it all covered. Oops, let's get that more on camera. Okay. And the other side now. Oh, a little bit too much paint on my brush. Side now. And after this, we just have a dasher, which doesn't have a lot of details on it, and a pouncer. Okay. Quickly do the dasher on the fire moth. I actually just realized I also got to paint the antennas on this guy black quickly. So I've already done that with all the other miniatures, except this one. Back side a little bit better. Cool. Go back to the metallics again here. Start on the torso as ever. Not a huge amount of stuff to do here, so this should go pretty quick for this guy. This is the benefit of a smaller miniature, there's just less to paint. Sometimes those things do get a little bit more tedious, but there is less to paint. Actually, I gotta go in here. There's a lens where that little rounded dome thing is. It's like a tracking sensor of some kind. I gotta paint that in. I'll paint that in black, and then I'm going to come back to it after I paint some of the other metallics. So I just got to do the rim of that thing in metallic. But I just want to make sure that this gets taken care of now so I don't have to do it later. Try not to hit anything around it. Cool. grab my metallic again. A couple little heat sinks on either side of the torso here. Just little guys. I'm gonna go ahead and just touch the tip there. Giggity. Get these little heat sinks down here as well. Get that in focus. Because it's right here, I'm just gonna quickly hit that. Oops. Yeah. I'm gonna go back to that little spot that we just kind of filled in. Oops. A bit of moisture. Just want to try to make sure my brush tip is as fine as I can here. As fine as I can manage, because it's not a big area that I gotta paint. You know what, I'm just gonna save myself time. This is one of those areas where coming back and touching up quickly will just be quicker. So I'm just gonna cover this whole area in metallics, and I'll just come back in quickly here with black, and I will fill in just the lens portion, because that'll be easy. Same with that. Go. And just trace it around, that's good to go. Cool. Alright, let's go to the back of the torso. There's a couple other areas here, little vents for heat sinks and stuff, and the engine. Relatively easy. Okay. It's not the right color. I just got a bunch of black on my brush. I need metallics. Okay. Let's get these laser barrel muzzles on top. No, we're going to do the entire barrels, because this is another miniature where, again, there's some weird cleanup with some of these mold lines, and I'm just not liking how some of the muzzles look on some of these barrels. So I'm just going to quickly base coat the entire barrels. Oops. And we'll come and do a quick little layer up on them in a minute once we finish the all the work on this and the pouncer. Trying to move as quickly as I can, but be as neat as possible. It was a bit of a struggle, especially while trying to keep everything in focus here on stream. I'm pretty tired too, actually. Just realizing it now. It's been a bit of a week. I've had the week off of work, but I've been doing lots of family things too, and just running errands and stuff. So today was a particularly busy day, so I guess I'm feeling it. We'll do round thing, little round thing, do it on both sides. And I'm just arbitrarily picking areas to paint metallics. I'm not really thinking too much about it. Just going to the usual areas where I tend to place metallics and just making snap decisions one way or another as to whether or not I want to paint an area with metallic paint or not. A lot of it just comes down to whether or not I feel it's going to take too much time. Go ahead and fire that onto there. And we'll do a little bit on the front of the ankle too. Rinse that off. Cool. One left to go. And yeah, the layering up and highlighting is going to be pretty quick. We're not doing it on everything. We're only doing it on a few select spots on each miniature, so that'll go pretty quick, and then that'll take us to kind of like our midstream break. Then we'll come back and crack on with the sexy blue. Chat's been quiet for a bit. Are you guys still there? Or am I talking to the ether? It's okay. It's alright if I'm by myself. Just scrubbing this area that I got a little bit of metallic on, the blue. Reporting in. What's going on, Warwolf? Happy to hear. These jump jet ports. Pouncer had some pretty gnarly mold lines on a few spots on it as well. Again, that Alpha Strike box set, for some reason, I don't know what it was with the ones I got. The Clan mechs in particular had some pretty bad mold lines. I feel like the Inner Sphere mechs were kind of a mixed bag, but yeah. The Clan mechs in general on this were just a little bit shoddy. Just a little bit subpar for my tastes in terms of the quality that they came out with. Especially when comparing them to the Inner Sphere mechs in the same box. But there's like a couple mold slips, and actually you can see there's a couple back here on the backs of the arms. I would have had to literally like reshape and resculpt those vents if I wanted them to be proper, as they're slipped just past each other, if that makes sense. They're just not quite aligned correctly. Sad face. Sad react in the chat. Give me your tears. Look at that. On the last stream you mentioned that you like to work on dioramas and you would be working on one soon. Do you also stream that process? So I recently finished a diorama. I worked on it over the course of like a day and a half, 2 days. I just kind of steamed through it in like the early hours of the day, for the most part. But yeah, I did it off stream. I will do one in the future on stream. I have like I want to make another kind of desert diorama of sorts. That's going to be kind of wide. That I can take a photo of at least a lance or two on. It'll have some kind of flat top hills and other things, but I'll probably do that on the stream, but that won't be for probably a few months. Yeah, I do have the diorama finished, and I've been testing backdrops with it today. Actually, I printed off a couple test sheets just to check color tone, under lighting, and everything, because it's one thing to look at a backdrop and look at your diorama and be like, yeah, those colors match up pretty well, but when you actually put them together, put them under lighting, and then actually take photos of them and start doing like a very minor editing process, even just the lighting in general will create small changes that you're like, okay, I see like subtle differences here that I didn't notice before. And then once you actually edit the photos, you'll see some pretty stark changes sometimes. So it's always good to do like little test sheets and whatnot. I do them on 8.5 by 11 matte photo paper just because it's not expensive. And yeah, I just go from there. I'm honestly kind of lazy on this dude, and he's got some pretty shitty mold lines, so I'm not going to go too crazy with details on this. I'm not even... Yeah, we're going to paint these little front areas, which are going to get dirtied up eventually with some oils and pigments. Oh, we got a sub from Ben C. Sorbin. What's going on? Thanks for the sub. I'm always happy to add people to my arsenal. My arsenal of homies online. One little single area, like the whole back sides of these legs had some pretty gnarly mold slippage, so I pretty much had to file some and scrape and cut some of the back sides of these legs. That's why they look a little bit funky. Oh wow, I'm actually looking at like a pretty significant area that I gotta clean up here with a knife. Been seeing your minis on Reddit for the last few months, so was interested when you came up on my recommended Twitch. Nice. Yeah, I try to post on Reddit when I'm going to have a stream, but for whatever reason, those posts just don't get upvoted, so people just never see them. But I do always put my posts on Instagram, Facebook, Discord, like various Discord channels that I'm or servers that I'm a part of. I'm gonna quickly grab a little bit of oops. Let's make sure the cap actually stays on the knife. That could be dangerous. I grabbed just a little bit of black gray from Vallejo, and I'm gonna quickly add some on this area that I scraped. I just had like a little bit of plastic that I tried scraping and cleaning up back here that was still stuck there and was just like kind of like flipped up. It's kind of noticeable. Currently painting Lance of Swordsworn and using yours on Camo Specs for inspiration. Thanks a lot, appreciate it. Yeah, I was really happy to be the first person to represent them on Camo Specs. I'm surprised Justin Hall, when he was a CSO artist, didn't put any of his up on the gallery, because I know he painted like at least 2 Lances of Swordsworn. I want to say a whole company worth of Swordsworn mechs a couple of years back, so his are very nice. But yeah, I enjoyed Swordsworn, Banzan's Raiders, Dragon's Fury, Steel Wolves quite a bit when I played MechWord Dark Age. So special place in my heart, definitely. Yeah, I'm calling this dude good. Let's get the next colors up. I'm gonna get some gunmetal and some silver, shining silver. So this is gunmetal from Army Painter. It's actually significantly brighter than the dark silver. And then I was going to use a little bit of shining silver, but I'm probably going to just use a little bit of straight up silver from R3AL. I was watching on YouTube, but the YouTube comments weren't coming through to your aggregation on screen. Oh, that's unfortunate. They were earlier. I wonder what happened. I'll have to take a look in a few minutes here, actually. I'll take a look right now. I'm curious. I hope I'm actually still streaming to YouTube. That'd be awkward if I'm not. Yeah, it's interesting. I was getting my my chats through to my aggregation earlier. It's weird that they're not happening now. Strange. I see like Griffin and Fish Fins talking back here. Yeah. Supports like bases stand, so they look like they're flying. 3D. Yeah. Dana R. Hey there, Arclight. Good to catch one of these. Happy to have you here. All right. Going on, Scott? Papa Chicken. Okay, we're going to grab the gunmetal. And we're just going to do very quick, easy highlighting. So just a couple of these prominent raised edges. Everything that's facing up towards the sky is going to get a quick little bit of this silver. And then I'll come back in and do like quick little spot highlights with the silver. Sorry, I'm using gunmetal here, but I'll come back in with the silver and highlight a few of these areas with some spot highlights. Pretty much just the big thing is I'm going to quickly edge highlight, and yeah. Just gonna do quick little area highlights on these piping bits. I thinned this metallic down, and metallics are pretty good when it comes to blending as it is. Just because if you use them when they're thin, they just disperse pretty well. Doing a few. Again, just on everything that's like facing towards the sky. I'll do a couple little bits on this, and that guy's done. Just like that. Boom. I'll come to this Parana. Thanks for the stream. Got to put my son to bed. Fish Fins. Thanks for coming out. Happy Thursday. Stay strong until the weekend, friends. It's Thursday night. It's basically the weekend. We're basically there. We just gotta rally. Just kind of hitting like the top quarter of these, and then I'll get a little bit on this rim here. I'll have to paint the center in here black again, but that's okay. Gonna kind of pick that halfway mark on the barrel and then cover the top half. So if you see that, bottom half stays nice and dark. little bit on the piping on the back here, and then we'll carry on to the next mech. Only going to be doing kind of the most prominent bits on this. Right, quick and easy. We've got the incubus. Got that little weapon muzzle down here. Pulling down towards the end of that muzzle. That's good enough. Get a little bit on the heat sinks here. And we're going to call that good. And I will come back through with the silver once more to all of these, just to do a couple quick edges and corners and things like that. Kind of covering the bottom half of that front face there and that top lip of this. I'll do a little bit on the side for this, but not much. That doesn't need much. That's good. On that like side on, and kind of work my way up just like that, and then repeat the process on the other side. Find that midway point, pull down, and then up. Then we'll hit the whole kind of front, the muzzle. Get that nice and shiny. Oops. Okay. I'm gonna hit just a little bit on the back of these arms. Just a little bit. And we'll do the top panels on these jump jets. A little bit on these like side angled ones. And then we'll hit all these hard edges. Some of these side angled ones as well. That's pretty much good for that one. Yep. Onto the Vapor Eagle. We've got this big barrel here that we're going to focus on. Start on kind of the side. These Army Painter metallics are actually surprisingly decent. I used to use them almost exclusively, and it was mostly just because that's what I had, but I never really had issues with them. I had a couple like Formula P3 metallics, and I tried some Citadel metallics and didn't really find much of a difference, so I just kept using them. Nice and shiny. I'm going to hit kind of the edges of these little metallic rims here on this arm. Get around these laser muzzles here. do around the rims first here, just because I'm facing the front. I'll do it on this one as well, actually, while I have it here. All right. I'm going to rinse and just get a little bit of water into my brush. Pick up some of that same gunmetal, and now I'm going to come back to the sides. So just like that. Just the jump jets essentially left on this, and then we can move on to the last 5. And then the spot highlights will go pretty quickly. Guess on kind of like the bottom 3/4 of this. Whoa, butterscotch rounds followed. Thanks very much. I do apologize if you are commenting on YouTube and your comments aren't showing in my aggregated chat. I was informed of it. Unfortunately, I only have one screen in front of me. I have 2 other screens behind me that have other things open on them that I just can't see all the time. And that's just because I can't clutter my painting desk with too many things. Still no subscribe button. What a slacker, I know. I gotta look into the whole Twitch affiliate thing tomorrow. I just ran out of time today. It is what it is. Had to drive into town and do all my errands today. Had to make 7 different stops at different stores. My goodness, my brain is fried from that. All right, man, it just switched. Gianovel just switched from YouTube to Twitch. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there. It seemed to happen last stream as well. For the first while, all of the YouTube chat would come through in the aggregated chat, and then it just seemed to stop partway through the stream for some reason. I guess this is where I need to be if I want to be seen. How's everyone's night? It's going well, going good, man. Sorry that it's proving inconvenient for some folks on YouTube. Pretty much ignoring the sides of the ones on the bottom because they're not going to be as bright as the ones on top. Through these quick here. How long have you been watching their butterscotch rounds? Hit the jump jets on the legs, and I think that's about it on this one. So the ones up top are pretty horrendous. I guess I'll hit it with a little something. edge highlight some of these. Boom. All right, this guy's good. Moving on to the next. I just really want to get on to painting this blue, honestly. I wasn't expecting the metallics to take me this long. It is deceiving sometimes, though. Again, I think it just has to do with where a lot of the metallic dominated bits tend to reside on these miniatures. So just caught the start of the highlighted TMM. Nice. Okay, so you haven't been around for too long. Been a YouTube subscriber for a while, but this is the first time I've seen you go live. Yeah, I just started streaming on YouTube this week. I've been streaming to Twitch, but finally accessed multi-streaming on OBS Studio, so figured I'd give it a go, because I know some folks just don't like Twitch for some reason. I don't really know why, but I've had that expressed to me from a few folks. I don't know if it's just a disdain for having to use another platform other than YouTube, but yeah. Cool. This guy doesn't have a whole lot of metallic stuff on him. I'm going to kind of hit a little bit of the top halves of the jump jets here, and that's about it. I don't know, man. I really literally downloaded an extension to get the theater style layout with chat actually on screen for YouTube. So what you're saying is it was more work for you to do that on YouTube than it would have been to just watch on Twitch? Is that what you're saying? Move on to the next dude. Do the Warhawk, then we got the Timberwolf last, and then we'll rifle through the final highlights, and then we'll take a quick break. Twitch skews younger, and its interface is cluttered, in my opinion. Ideal sometimes, but YouTube is a preference. Yeah, fair enough. And Twitch generally seems to be more so for gaming, whereas there's a lot of podcasts that stream live to YouTube and don't do so for Twitch, so I get it. It's ultimately why I wanted to be able to stream to both, is I don't know, just visibility, and people have their own preferences, so I figured if I have it available on two locations, then I'll just get more viewers. Even if it's split between two services, I don't really care. It's not like I'm making a living off of this or anything like that, so. And even then, I reckon just the added exposure helps in general. Okay, those muzzles are done. Quickly highlight these little heatsink baffles. And then I have to do a little bit on the little screw things on the side here. Quick little volumetric highlight on that. Quick and easy. Boom. Whoops, that's not the right color. Repeat the same process here. And same thing there. Boom. Quick little volumetric highlight. I'll quickly touch up some of these. Well, not touch up, but touch some of these with a little bit of this. And we're done with that guy. Onto the Timby. We're just essentially hitting weapon muzzles and edges on a couple of the elbow joints on this guy. Quick and easy. These laser muzzles are pretty shite. Just really bad molding on them, from being brutally honest. Already the muzzle rim done. Gonna kind of hit edge there. I'll do it on the back sides as well. I just kind of want to edge highlight these. Just like so. Very subtle, but especially like when I pull it out of direct light like that, the top edges stand out a lot more now, so that's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. Alrighty, we're gonna work our way back through these. We're just gonna grab this pure silver, and we're just gonna hit a few of the most prominent edges. So for me, I'm gonna hit kind of like top edges and bottom middle of all the muscles, just like that. And that's it. This guy, pretty much just gonna hit top edge on here. So, I'll do the little bit on the muzzle rim. About good. And hit these edges up here, and then this guy's good as well. There you go. Noticing, just want to get a little bit of, this is the dark silver. I'm just bringing it right back into the middle here. So I got a little bit of the silver in there. So there, clean that up. Quickly work our way back through here. You probably don't need to do this step, but I'm a sucker for punishment, and I committed myself to doing this, so I'm gonna keep doing this with these little final spot highlights. I just think that they make a big difference. Not a big difference, but they make a noticeable difference to me. So I like doing this. And again, I'm mostly just focusing on weapon barrels. Under here. Like the little bottom edge of the missile ports. Kind of hit some of these edges. Some of these more hard, prominent edges up top here and stuff. We'll do kind of the same thing on the barrel. I'm hitting the bottom middle of the muzzle too, just because a lot of light's going to hit there. See quite a bit of contrast going up on the missile pod there. Lots of shine. That's exactly what we want. And again, this is going to have a lot more contrast than just that flat dark silver that we put. So. Home stretch on these for the metallics. Do a single little glare line on that. Just a single little one. It's not really noticeable now, but just little touches. Of course, our spicy little piranha here with all his barrels, he needs a lot of little shine spots. Just like that. On YouTube, I can listen while I read. Nice. Little spot highlights up on little pauldron pieces. A little bit on those laser barrels, and probably just on this very bottom edge there. I guess I'll do probably just a couple little edge highlights up here. On these piping bits. Do a little bit on the jump jets. Boom. Metallics complete. Woo! Hooray! Alrighty. I'm gonna hop over to the we're gonna take a quick break actually. I was gonna say we're gonna hop over to the painting desk. We're gonna take a quick break. It's 9:51. We've only got like just under 2 hours left in the stream here. I'll take a quick chat here. Yeah, just looking at the YouTube here. I think Dana R is the last person to post in on the YouTube chat, but yeah, not a lot of people viewing on YouTube at the moment, but that's okay. I think more of the viewers are on Twitch at the moment. Definitely a lot more on Twitch, but that's okay. One-stop shop. Anywho, folks, we're gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna take a 10-minute stroll to stretch my legs. It is 9:52. I'll be back at around 10:02, 10:03. Alrighty, folks, I'm back from my break. Gonna take a minute to sip on a Diet Coke. Quick step outside, caught some fresh air. I'm actually gonna crack my window open. Beautiful outside. Happy all the super hot weather's gone. Got like what feels like late spring weather right now, and it's perfect. Alrighty, let's hop back on over to the painting desk. And we'll get cracking on the blue. It's gonna be good. I'm excited to start getting some edge highlights in on the blue and getting all those highlights pumped up. Let's get to it. Okay, folks. So, first color that we are going to be doing is going to be Arcane Blue. The most recent color that we did was Temple Guard Blue. Actually, you know, we're going to start with the Temple Guard Blue first. We're just going to refine a few things, and then we'll go in with the Arcane Blue after, and then build upon the thing that we've built with the Temple Guard Blue, because there are a few miniatures here where it could stand to use a little bit more Temple Guard Blue on some edges and just in some areas. Now, this will be a bit of a tedious process, so this will be something that will be wrong brush. We're going to use this brush. This is a number 2 brush. One of my, it's like my primary detailing brush that I use for almost everything. I'm going to grab some Temple Guard Blue. This is an airbrush paint, so it's already kind of thinned down a little bit. This is Citadel Air, by the way. Now, these edge highlights can be a little bit more chunky. They don't need to be like super smooth and fine, because we're going to be coming back in with some brighter colors and doing some more sharply refined edge highlights that cover smaller areas. Oops. Just kind of hitting the front of the LRM pods here. Just hitting the brush along the edges. Doing all the front and top edges. Just like so. I'm not really doing the bottom ones, and if I do the back sides, I'm gonna pick like just a portion of it. I'm not gonna do the entire thing. And it's just because I'm trying to create a lot of contrast. You actually do yourself a disservice when you edge highlight too much. So less is more in so many cases. Again, I'm just kind of doing like chunky edge highlights. These don't need to be like super sharp. These are Starfields, remember? So we already did a bunch of sponge work. This is just kind of our initial, like, we're sketching in all of the rest of our highlights. And then we're going to refine these even further. So don't fret. So you can start to see like there's a little bit more brightness being built here in comparison to the other side, just through the edge highlights. I'm going to come to these ones here, and then I'm going to drag some edge highlights front to back. Always white front to back. You know, you know. We're still working on that one. Come over to this side. I'm gonna do these ones on the inside. And again, I'm gonna focus on the front edge and the top. Just like that. And it's really interesting how much brighter an area looks, even when you don't cover a large surface area with a very bright color, but when you have those gradients that are very steep, it just tricks the eye into making something look a lot brighter than it actually is. Not really seeing any other areas that I want to touch up on that missile pod, so I'm going to move to the other one. And I'm basically going to repeat the process. And I'll compare the two as I go to make sure that I'm hitting all the areas I need to. Same thing when I do the arms and the legs. Now, obviously, when you're dealing with certain inner sphere models that are asymmetrical, I guess certain clan models as well, just asymmetrical models in general, you'll have to be a little bit more mindful, but you know, it just is what it is. Got a much different animal when you have an asymmetrical design. This one up a little bit here. These little side edges. I kind of missed a few areas with some metallics, but that's okay. We hit that. A little bit of the dark silver. Just noticing this now. Did it on the insides here too, actually. That's okay. This will be quick. The metallics, they never end. Just when we thought we were going to be doing blue, we are doing metallics yet again. All right, that's done there. Go back to the blue. Let's go back to our safe space where the blue is, where the blue calls home. You'll see I kind of I got a little bit on not just the edge there, but that's totally fine. It's an area that has pretty high concentration of sponge work on it, so just gonna do a very soft line through here. Those edge highlights coming back, just kind of reinforce them. This whole edge to do, and that little bit of purple just complements the the blue super well. They are in fact complementary colors, so especially like magenta and cyan. If you look at them on the color wheel, they're exactly opposite of each other. I'm gonna do the inside ones here. These are a little bit messed up, but that's okay. I think we can start on the center torso and the framing around the cockpit now, which is always fun. Be a little bit more bold with how much coverage I do with this blue. Just on that area around the framing. I have a love-hate thing with edge highlighting. Like sometimes I hate it, but like right now, this is like a very like therapeutic. I guess cathartic. I'm working out some catharsis by proxy of doing edge highlights because I'm just doing something slow and monotonous. But it does take a lot of concentration to do it. So it's like very soothing for my task-oriented brain. Have an early Dave. Have a good night, Voxelforge. Yeah, we're shutting the stream down a bit after 11 tonight. I'm a tired boy. Won't be on too much longer myself. Have a good night. Bit of tracing to do up here. Here and trace this panel line. Panel line 2, just in front of this, like, I guess this is probably the access hatch on top. Pretty sure this is actually, especially based on there's the artwork of the Timberwolf with the its whole loadout kind of sprawled out on the tarmac in front of it, and the pilot is standing on top of it. Nice. hitting all the tops of these edges. Really try to be very selective with these ones as I start getting down to the side here, because these aren't going to see as much light. And I'm kind of building a lot of the light volume up top here, so. It is really unfortunate that the mold lines were so horrendous on this miniature, because there's a few areas that are just really rough on the sculpt. It's just very unfortunate. At arm's length, it looks decent, but when you look at it up close, it's a little bit beat. As you can see, there's like a pretty rough area right here where like just casted really poorly. There's like a big groove through there. And again, there were so many issues with this sculpt in general that I just did not feel like resculpting all the areas. I just let it be. And I can always just paint it as a little bit of battle damage, which is probably exactly what I'm going to do later on. Just a little bit more on these front edges. It is the top though, so it's hard to not want to do a little bit more in terms of edge highlighting. Alright. Top down, it's looking bright as hell. Looking good. We're going to brighten those edge highlights even more with a secondary edge highlight. That's going to involve the arcane blue and just a touch of white ink. That's going to be brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I can't wait. I have a little sippy sip of my Diet Coke here. Okay, I'm gonna move towards, like, I'm still working on the center torso area. Before I go to the back, I'm gonna kind of just hit these areas on kind of the fronts of the shoulders. So this area right in there, I'm gonna come in and hit it up over here as well. And that's about my limit of exploitation when it comes to putting any blue color. I consider that torso. from here on out, that's ARM. So I'm just not putting any of that color on there. Tiny little edge highlight right here. Just a nice light one, very subtle. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Attempt to, anyways. Yeah, just barged into my office and have a bunch of light spilling out into my hall. Give me 1 second, folks. I got to deal with pest control. Hey, get out of here, buddy. Love you to death, buddy. Kitty extricated from the home office, not from the house. I'm yawning, so I probably won't be on much longer. Yeah, don't blame me, man. Thanks for the stream. Is there any particular night I should check in here on Twitch, or is as the mood hits? Yeah. So essentially, every Saturday from 7:30 to 11:30, I stream. And then I'm trying to do Monday and Thursday nights going forwards from 8 to 10. That's pretty much going to be a consistent thing going forwards. So Twitch and YouTube, I'll be streaming Saturdays 7:30 to 11:30, and then Monday, Thursday 8 to 10. Jot that shit down. And follow me on social media. I always put out updates when I'm going to be streaming, just as like confirmations, like, hey, don't miss it. And I do have a Discord that is spooling up. I will drop the link for that in the chat before I leave, and we close the stream. But yeah, so thanks for hanging out there, Butterscotch Rounds. Hope to see you back. Hopefully you didn't sign off before I actually got to that reply, because that'd be awkward. It happens, though. Definitely excited to start painting stars on this. On all of these miniatures. I think that's going to be a super fun process. The good part is we don't really have edge highlighting to do with the gray, because we already did some basic edge highlighting with the gray by dry brushing. So once we do all the refined edge highlights with this, we're pretty much good to go. And then the weathering will take care of some more kind of refinement on the gray. This guy's honestly looking pretty good to go. He's good to go for now. Let's just look at the difference between the two here. And just look how bright that is in comparison. All just from the edge highlights. Very cool seeing side by side. Crack on. Pretty sure that is a mold line, but I'm going to paint that as a panel line. Oops. Hit the edge of there we go. Some of this off my brush onto my fingernail there. Just had way too much on my brush. Ooh, the double edge highlight. Look at that. Two birds stone at once. That's pretty cool. Just perfect angle. One shot, one opportunity to seize the moment. I have to make that a highlight reel. Yeah. Alright. I'm just going to touch kind of the back sides of these panels because they're on the very top. A little area in the middle there too, just like so. I got to get this area up top as well because I'm just kind of neglecting it at the moment. Oh, another double edge highlight. Boom. Fancy pants over here. It's a twofer. Oh, we got another double edge highlight. Look at that. Gotta love that. It's a hat trick. Use some hockey terminology. Hat trick of twofers. It's about as Canuck as it gets right there. On a roll. Yep. Yeah, dude. Keep it rolling, boys. Oh my god. Basically dry brushing with this detail brush right now. There we go. Starting to look like icy blue Tron going on in here, which I really like. It's just like crazy. Look at the difference between the sides, which I haven't edge highlighted yet, and the top. If I don't say so myself, like, so much brighter. Especially like nuts, man. Nuts, man. My way to the backside here, actually. I do apologize if I'm not as chatty right now. I am actually getting kind of tired. little bit low on the sleep department right now, so might finish up this guy and then might close out with some chat. We'll see. I want to try to make it closer to 11, but we don't. It is a weeknight. It's a school night, as it were. The one side of those little slit portions, all those areas. Floppy edge highlights right here, which is totally fine. It's one of those paint schemes where it actually kind of helps to have some sloppy edge highlights occasionally. I gotta need a line here. I think there's actually supposed to be a harder panel line there. It just doesn't really show up well because of the way this is cast. Like the miniature, I mean. Okay. We're working on the front of this guy. Oh, I just realized I have there's a flamer right here that I need to paint with some metallics. A little bit neglectful of me, but that's okay. Quickly base that in black. Oops. Carry on with a little bit more edge highlighting, and then we'll go back with a little bit of the metallics just to hit the flamer with. Panel line here that I'm supposed to trace along, stuff like that. And this one. Not my best work. There we go, that's a little bit nicer. Add a little bit of color onto the inside here. Same on the other side right here. Just a very small little touch with that blue. Help to brighten things up a bit. A bit on the inside there too. Oh, that's a sharp line. And another sharp one. Oh, just flying off my brush right now. This paint's a good consistency. It's about to dry out, but it's not quite there yet, so I'm gonna take advantage of it while I can. Oh, beautiful. Looking pretty groovy. Hit this little edge right here. Oops, don't want to put too much. I think I did that on that side there. So come back to here. Top edge. Just like so. It's a little bit more pronounced. And let's hit this little thing right here. Quickly do that straight edge highlight coming out towards the back. It's my turn to admit I'm whooped. Have a good night, all. Thanks for hanging out there, Gionovel. Gionovel. That's what I'm gonna call you. The only way I can think to pronounce it. My uncultured Canadian tongue. Have a good night, man. Really appreciate hanging out. Whoops. Okay, well, I think this guy's about done for the blue. Just had a look. Oh, a couple little panels up here actually we can touch up with it. Okay, I think that's about good. Zoom out a little bit here. Nice and bright, especially if we compare. I'm just going to zoom in slightly. If we compare this to literally any of these other ones, like the brightness is just insane. Once we start adding in the arcane blue with just a touch of white added in, oh my goodness, shit's gonna be popping. Conjurer Hellhound there, little Incubus, just a dull little boy. He needs some light bright in his life. Same thing with the Horned Owl. This thing's gonna benefit like crazy from it. I'll probably sneak in a couple little, like, I don't know, quasi glare lines and stuff on some of the curved surfaces. It'll be nice. Vapor Eagle. You get the point. These things are bright as hell. I think we're going to call it. I'm going to tap out on these right now. We'll call this a night. This is very productive. We had to get through the metallics at some point on this. So I'm happy to say that they are complete. They look pretty sharp. Even on some of the mechs like the Timberwolf here, where there's just not great casting on a lot of the miniature. I do like the Nova. It's got a lot of muzzles, lots of muzzies. Yeah, the Warhawk, of course. It's got a couple big muzzles, but I don't want too much of those being shiny. And then the little screw cap things on the side. Great TMM working for us right there. And they would not be that shiny if it wasn't for that little layering process. So it really goes a long way, especially on surfaces like that. Just looks pretty cool. Anywho, let's hop over to the painting desk quickly, do some closing statements, and we'll call our night. Put my paint away there. I'm just gonna set my miniatures back to where they were. Boom. All right, folks. That was fun. I'm going to be streaming again on Saturday evening at 7:30. Going to be continuing on with what we're doing. Nothing crazy. We're just going to go through the rest of the blue on these mechs. It should go pretty quickly, especially on some of the smaller guys, because we're just doing the center torsos and the heads for the edge highlights. Once we're done that, it's Starfield time, baby. Gonna do lots of stars, probably bust out the airbrush for some of that as well, just to do a couple on like the Warhawk and the Timberwolf and the Vapor Eagle and maybe even the Conjurer, just because, you know, bigger surfaces, we can get some pretty cool big glowy stars that have some cool colors, maybe some magentas and some greens. Yeah, we'll go from there. I do have the Discord up. Let me pull that up quickly just so you folks can get the link before we actually close this out. Boom. Copy. Let's drop this in the chat. There's the Discord link. Head on over there. I'm still in the process of setting everything up, so there's only a few channels, and they're pretty bare bones at the moment, but I do have a lot of plans for that. Yeah, so stay tuned. Hop in there, be part of the community. Don't be a dick. That's just kind of my baseline policy. Don't be a dick. Be a nice guy. No negative waves. That's it. Simple. Thanks for being with me, folks. We're gonna close it out. It's 10:45. I'm tired. I wanted to go until 11:30, but I'm gonna take care of a couple other things and tidy up my office and have a snack and go to bed. This has been Real Time Painting. My name is Zach, sole owner of Arclight Miniatures. I bid you adieu. Have a good night, folks.